About 4 days ago, my wife consummated an affair she'd been having with her therapist for the past 7 months. About 3 months ago, she cut off sex. She told me I didn't deserve it anymore and I had to earn the right. I found myself in a dead bedroom. As time went on, I kept attempting to talk things through with her. I was starved of intimacy, touch, reassurance, and help around the house. Everything she suddenly stopped doing anything related to our relationship or household. I felt betrayed. I was convinced that there was more to it. But she kept explaining things away, redirecting the questions, changing facts, etc. I regularly prompted her to please be open and honest with me so we could work things out. But I was exhausting her. She never had time for me and always had higher priority things to focus on. Her resentment of me grew, and she was openly hostile with me at this point. Then she scheduled a trip to go on a women empowerment event. This event was females only, and I knew in my heart what was happening. She had found a cover story that she knew I wouldn't argue with. I couldn't sleep, so I snooped through her accounts again. I went through the phone records and search history. I purchased a background search service so I could find out which numbers were whose. There was a suspicious number, so I decided to give it a call. And sure enough, the name on the voicemail was none other than her therapist. I did a background search and discovered he lived in the same town she booked the hotel. On the second night of her trip, I accessed her search history. I put together a timeline of events of conversations we had compared to her very disturbing search results and various other findings. All of my fears were confirmed, even worse than I imagined. She was researching how marriages turn out with your therapist and how to document evidence to prepare for a divorce. She stalked him and his family and did background checks on them. She researched how to hide assets during divorce, how to catfish someone. She researched the law of if a therapist could lose their license if they had sex with a client, and the list of things went on. She Googled this man nearly every day. The evidence was undeniable. She absolutely loved this man and was stalking him. The day before her trip, she searched how to not fart during sex. All the pieces were there, and I knew exactly what was going on. I sent her a text message Sunday morning outlining all of the things I knew what was going on. I called out her affair partner by name. Said she needed to come clean if she had any desire to fix our relationship. She returned Sunday, a day early. She demanded to know where I got this info from. I withheld and told her where I got it from was not important, and I held my ground. I didn't want to give her the opportunity to obfuscate, twist, deny, or reason with any of the evidence. Eventually, she spilled all the information. She described in detail how they had sex. She told me she wanted to continue on the affair to see where things go, but also wants to continue her marriage with me because she loves me. I'm sickened. I'm horrified. But for some reason, I can't help but think maybe I should try to have an open relationship. Maybe it'll be fun even. Please someone shake me out of this idiotic line of thinking. After some intense hours of her sharing and telling me everything, and the more I think about it, the crazier this all sounds. Apparently, her therapist is a leader of a group of men that go out into the woods for sexual male empowerment sessions. These are secretive, and they are not allowed to say what goes on there. Instead of my wife attending the female version of this, she attends the graduation ceremony of the male session. In these sessions, each guy gets on stage and tells his emotional story. Then the family members come on stage to give testimonial of how the man's life improved after joining this group. It's like a little girl getting on stage to say, "My daddy is different now. I like him better." Now it just so happens that my wife is sat down unknowingly to the top leader of the group, who says to the person in the row in front of them, if only there was a female version of this group. And my wife jumps at the opportunity to say, "Oh, there is. Matter of fact, I skipped the session this week to support a fair partner here today." The leader guy says, "Oh really? Would you mind speaking about it and sharing information with some people here?" So they put her up on stage to talk about this woman's empowerment session she'd never even attended before. I could just be paranoid, but now I get the feeling her therapist. He recruits vulnerable women for this organization and indoctrinates them to take advantage of them sexually. I'm at a loss. On one side, I'm deeply disturbed and upset by my wife's actions. On the other side, I think she was taken advantage of, manipulated, and coached by her therapist, and I could report him to the board to have his license revoked. My wife said she did not want me to do that, and that it would make her miserable to know she was the reason for his life falling apart. She wants to have an open marriage and talks about having threesomes and participating in some potentially really fun and interesting sex. She was able to seduce me when she got back, and the sex was pretty good. So here I am, being a sucker, contemplating not filing for divorce, so I don't have to deal with all of that. What the F is wrong with me? Story number 2. Wife cheated with coworker who lives 6 doors down from us. My wife and this guy have been coworkers and friends for over a year now. They mostly work together, but sometimes talk via text or Snapchat. He is 26 and she is 33, and my age is around 37. He lives in his parents' basement. He has a part-time job at the company and no real financial future. He is also not very attractive and doesn't seem like my wife's type. Anyway, her boss at work had a birthday on Saturday. I dropped her off at the bar, where a bunch of other employees were going to celebrate. I fell asleep on the couch at around 1 a.m. and woke up at 6 a.m. the following day. I'm not sure why, but I had a bad feeling about her, not coming home before I was awake. So, I looked through her phone and found Snapchats, which made my heart sink. She messaged him at 2:30 a.m. and said he's asleep. He replied back, "Tonight or another night?" Her reply was, "Tonight." He replied back saying, "Do you have condoms?" Her reply was, "I don't have any." He replied back saying, "I'll grab some and meet up there in 10 minutes. After I found the texts, I took some photos and woke her up and confronted her. She came clean admitting to it all after I showed her the photos. She said that they didn't have sex because he was too drunk to get hard, but they fooled around and tried to. She claims this is the first time they ever got physical, but I am not sure I believe it, since from the texts they had clearly discussed it as they both knew what they were talking about. I am now trying to decide if I want to divorce or reconcile. I had an initial consultation with a lawyer today. We own a house together that neither of us can afford on our own, and have 2 kids ages 6 and 4. I'm looking for advice or support from this community. Do you think I can keep this relationship alive? She has agreed to go zero contact, give me full access to her phone, and enter counseling. She keeps on asking me what I want to do. But I don't want to do either, live in a relationship with no trust or break up my family and sell the house. But I know I need to pick one. I also told her that she needed to inform her parents, or I would, and she called them both immediately after. I'm not sure why I did this. I guess I want her to own it, and I want her parents, who I both respect, very much to know why I will be divorcing her if I choose that path. Update. I met with a lawyer yesterday and took home the client intake form, which I filled out in front of her shortly after. I have my first consultation with the lawyer in 2 weeks, as that was their earliest appointment. She has been very remorseful and has done everything I have asked of her so far. She also said she wanted to prove to me that this was a one-time mistake but didn't know how. Then I saw that some people suggested a lie detector test, so I brought that up to her. She agreed to take it and asked to do it sooner than later, so I called today on my lunch break and scheduled one for Friday. The questions will basically cover what happened the night in question, whether they have ever done anything previously to that, and whether or not there have been any other partners during our marriage. If she fails any questions on the test, I will not attempt reconciliation, and even if she passes them all, I still may not. This is all too fresh, and my emotions are too high to make any decisions at this point in time. The only decisions I've made are things she must do for me to even consider reconciliation. In terms of the affair partner, they work for the same company but do not work at the same store and have no day-to-day interactions at work. I am not making excuses for her, and am not trying to diminish the disrespect she has given me or my family. Does anyone have any experience with lie detectors? I'm assuming I can't be the only person here who has had a spouse take one. Also, I do not wish to talk to her and make her lose her job. If she has no wage, if we divorce, I do not want to have to pay support. Our incomes are slightly similar, with mine being higher. And if some way in hell we do try to work it out, I will also need her financial help to maintain the household. There is one more update to this story, but it is deleted. I have tried my hardest to bring it back alive, but all my attempts have failed. I am still trying to get that update, and once I accomplish it, I'll leave it in the comments section. I have one more announcement to make before I vanish. We are very close to achieving 1,000 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. According to my channel data, 90% of my viewers are not subscribed. If you find yourself in one of those, please take a moment to subscribe.